Hi, Mita and Katrin.
Hi, Lini. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, let's give our final SAMS conference audience an impression about SAMS and user-centered design. We will talk about what is UCD, what are the challenges to integrate UCD in a SAMS project, how we worked within SAMS. We will show you some results, and of course, we will give you some lessons learned we made. Now I would like to hand over to Katrin.
Thank you, Leni. So to implement user-centered design in SAMS, we were based on the human-centered design process that is defined in some ISO norms. And basically, you can say user-centered design is an approach that puts human needs, capabilities, and behaviors first. So first of course, all actions for user-centered design have to be planned in advance. So you have to know what you're going to do. Then a context of use analysis is done to learn everything about the users, their needs, capabilities, and ways of behaving in their specific context. Insights gained from this analysis are transformed into product-related user requirements, which are base for product designs. Product designs are then evaluated with users in order to identify needs for improvement. This process iterates until the design meets all user requirements. And as you can imagine, that's a really nice theory, but we had some challenges to implement this user-centered design in our context, and I will hand over to Leni to talk about these challenges.
Thank you, Katrin. Yeah, as you mentioned already, of course, we had to face challenges. Challenges regards team organization were that the project is very complex because we are developing, or we were developing, hardware, software, and human services. Then, of course, it was challenging to work in an interdisciplinary and international project team, although it was really great to work in such a team. But yeah, we are sitting in different locations, we are having different time zones and holiday cultures and internal organizational structures, which influenced our work. Another challenge was the personal resources and the frequent changes of project team members. Nearly in each project team in each country, we faced changes of project team members. Another challenge was the diverse previous experience and knowledge in UCD. So every one of us has another knowledge base. What is UCD? How to implement UCD, how to follow UCD, and how to adapt UCD to the SAMS project. This includes also a diverse practical planning and implementation skills, and influenced our workflow. Another challenge was to find an agile process organization as well. And now I would like to hand over to Mita to talk about, but then how we worked actually.
Okay, thank you, Lini. So I will tell you how we did the user research or the field research process, the steps process in Ethiopia and in Indonesia. Here, as you can see, as you can read, we start with the pre-interview workshops. Here, basically, we kind of designing what kind of questions we want to ask, what type of beekeepers we want to interview, what kind of beekeepers that we want to get to know deeper, and looking for the beekeepers. It's also one of the process. So contacting the beekeepers, searching for the beekeepers, and so on and so forth. And after we did this, after we already determined what kind of questions we want to ask, then we do the interview. And in Indonesia and also in Ethiopia, beekeepers lives near the apiary, which located usually far from the city. So they usually lives in more rural areas or more in the suburban areas. So it took some time for us from the city to go to their apiary, and then we took some time to get to know them. we did this with the in-depth interview methods and also shadowing. We stay with them. Usually, minimally, we stay with them for 2 days and 1 night. We live in their house to get a sense of, instead of just conversing and asking what they did, how they did beekeeping, we also took some time to observe how they did it live. So that's the reasons why we took some time to spend also the night in their houses. And then we also very glad that we did this, because we can see their relationships, their dynamics with the wives or the kids and other beekeepers, fellow, something like that. And of course, after this interview process, and then we came back to the city, we took some time to download all the informations, because it's 2 days and 1 night is a lot of information, as you can imagine. And then we download all the informations, we jot down, we take notes, we collecting all the quotes, we hear the recordings, we see the video recordings. So we download all these informations. After this phase, we then try to making sense out of this abundant informations. We try to making sense of this. We took some time to carefully analyze, is there any kind of patterns that emerging from this informations? Is there any interesting findings or unique point of view in see things in the beekeeping daily life? And after we craft the insights, so after this huge amount of informations, we then create 1 or 2 or even 3 insights. So this is like the main insights, and then we make this making this into a report, which the report will be discussed again with the international team from the Germany and Austria and Latvia and also Ethiopia. So this is how we work. This is step by step of the user research we did in the field research. Here, as you can see, this is the beekeepers in Indonesia. Each picture represents different types of beekeepers. There are more stable, more established beekeeper. There are more grassroots beekeeper. So 2 pictures on the left. This is more like established beekeepers, where they have this, as you can see on the first picture, the beehives are more structured and more similar with other beehives that they own. And as you also can see, the surroundings of the first pictures, the apiary in Indonesia, mostly located in the suburbs area, which still the landscapes are mostly hilly, and there are lots of trees, like tall trees, small trees. And in between this landscape and surroundings, they scattered their beehives. And they can own from 50 beehives up to 200 and 300 beehives. So it's a lot of works to check each beehives. So it came naturally for this type of beekeepers to build a hut. As you can see, and in the second picture, this hut is also plays an important role in the beekeeper's life, because this is where it's kind of like a resting place for them when they did the checking hives. So here's in this hut, they usually also do their beekeeping activities. And on the third picture, you can see this is more grassroots beekeeper. From the previous beekeepers, you can see that they use more similar beehives. On the third picture, you can see this beekeeper keeps not only Apis cerana and Apis mellifera, but he also keeps Trigona, which it's very common in West Java, Indonesia. Trigona can live inside the bamboo sticks. So this is one of his beehives. So it's not quite man-made, but it's also half natural, half pre-set up beehives for this type of beekeepers. And on the far right, you can see this is also grassroots beekeepers who own more DIY beehives type, because he used an upcycled wood or material where he can find anywhere in the forest. So with this insights, we kind of see that any kind of system that anyone wants to create must be able to adopting this several various type of beehives. And here in Ethiopia, you can see on the first picture on the top left, you can see the surroundings is similar from in Indonesia apiary site. And on the on the top right, you can see this is the stacks of the beehives far in the back, the yellow ones. They have more same dimension in each beehives. And on the down on the below right, you can see the pictures there where beekeepers documenting their beekeeping activities. So it's quite manual. They did that manually, just like in Indonesia also. From those field research, we can say that, or we can conclude that uh, first on the first round of user research in Indonesia, we kind of thought that beekeepers always work in a hierarchical way. But after we did more in-depth interview and meeting more beekeepers, we realized that um, it really depends. This beekeeper's working way or working structure, it really depends on where their apiaries are located. For example, if these beekeepers are more grassroots beekeepers and they live more in the rural or forest areas, they tend to work more equally. Rather, if we met a beekeepers that lives more near in the city, for example, if they live in a suburban area, more established the beekeepers, more they tend to work in a hierarchical way. To understand this is also important for us to develop any kind of solution or products that we want to create. And on the right side, you can see this is the illustrations of the beehives. As I mentioned before, in Indonesia, the beekeepers not only kept mellifera or serrana, which more similar type of bees, but they also keep trigona. It's a smaller bees. And now we will talk about the results, and I will hand it over again to Lini.
Yeah, thanks, Mita. So within our 3-year running project, of course, we have now some results available. So one of the results is are the 10 rules of honeybee management, available on the SAMS website and also on SAMS Wiki. SAMS Wiki is also a result. It was set up to sustainably store all the project results. Another result is the SAMS data warehouse and the SAMS partnerships. And furthermore, within the project, we developed 54 SAMS business models, which can also be, which you can also visit and see on the SAMS website and on SAMS Wiki. And of course, we have a hardware result. That's the SAMS Hive monitoring system. You can see it. You can see the last version of it on the picture on the right side. And now again, back to Mita with the DSS, maybe the most important result within the SAMS project.
Okay, thank you, Lini. So as Lini mentioned before, we create or we produce these monitoring systems. So the monitoring system is implemented inside the beehives, but the beekeepers can see what happened within their colony with this kind of interface, which the DSS, the decision support system. On the left side, you can see this is the first iteration of the interface, the smaller pictures. Here you can see when the beekeepers log in or download this application, what did they see? So basically they can see what it sums and benefits and how to use it, and then they can log in. But when we did the usability testing to our user, which is the beekeepers, they said that this is too much information and it's kind of like confusing for them. So you can see the evolution of it, and then on the right side you can see this is the most recent design of the interface of the DSS. So it's instead of putting or pouring like too much information, we just like say this is the unique value proposition of the SAMS, which is the helps monitor your colony. That's it, and then just one button call to action, which is get inside. And after you get inside, instead of setting up all the information from the start, the beekeepers can instantly see how many monitoring systems they already own or they just purchased, and then they just like kind of like giving task in each monitoring system where they should locate it, and so on and so forth. And on the right side, you can see this is the evolution of the how the beekeepers see the hives that endanger. So here you can see on the right side, this is the apiaries, and it's kind of hard to identify which hives is need action from us. And on the left side, on the right side, sorry, you can see the most urgent hives is located on always on top, and the beekeepers can quickly access it.
Thanks, Mita, again. Yeah, the first learning from the UCD project or from the UCD and SAMS project was maybe to create the same understanding of terms. We did that in form of a UCD glossary, and we also formed a UCD working group, which consists of about 5 to 7 members of our SAMS project team. And as you can see, Katrin, Mita, and me, we are 3 out of these.
Yeah, and I also found that writing reports together need a collaborative tools. So it's very important to identify which collaborative tools you can use if you work in an international team. Because what we find out in this team is in each country we have different policies of data protection. So for example, we cannot use the same collaborative tools. So it's very painful for us to have the same similar document. It's the same but different documents, because each partner giving feedbacks in these documents themselves in the documents, and then they send it via email, and then at the end of the day we need to collect all of the same documents, and then we kind of need to examine which difference they made and integrate it into one document. It's kind of like it's very painful. So this is also very important to work in an international collaborative team.
Yeah, Mita, it is, or it was very important. I can also recommend you to communicate very, very often, and not to have only email communication in mind. Our communication was way much faster when using MS Teams, for example. We successfully used MS Teams to quickly write messages to each other. That was really helpful.
And also to meet regularly, weekly, virtually was very important. And equally important was that we had the opportunity before Corona started in our first 2 years to meet physical and really work together for a week or two and get to know each other better. And we became a mutual understanding of how we work and how we operate, and it made everything easier in this COVID times now.
Yeah, and following up from Katrin's insight, I also find it valuable for us as a team, as the whole team, not only the UCD team but also the technical team, to take some time to do on-site visits, because this experience gave the insights on how these beekeepings do their activities daily on a daily basis. So we are quite lucky to have these opportunities last year to have the whole team come to Indonesia and go to the apiary site and see for themselves how the beekeepers do this and that. And this actions actually sparks more ideas, not only in the UCD team, but also in the technical teams. So now they understand more and they have ideas how to solve the beekeepers' problems or to help beekeepers do their beekeeping activity more effective and efficient.
Yeah, and of course, because of our international distribution and different work times, we were not able to really do agile development by the book. but we kept the spirit of agile development by working on increments and constant exchange of results and thorough planning of the next steps. So I think in the end, we achieved a agile working process that was special for our project.
Yeah, and lastly, for the beekeepers itself in Ethiopia and in Indonesia, I guess it's important for us to engage with them in a deeper level, because these beekeepers need to trust who is they're working with, and online communication or texting communication, it's not enough for them. So we need to take some time to meet them in their place, to visit their apiary and then talk to them directly. We also need to take these aspects into account where we setting up, or we create a timeline of our research process, because it takes some time, but once they trust us, it could be like much faster and clearer way to get insights, to get to their insights as the beekeepers, as our end users.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot. And now we are looking forward to your questions. Thanks.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you.